Hello and welcome to the Pohl Position, Episode 1, right here on WDTN Plus. You know, when I first started in this business, I never would have dreamed that I would end up dreaming of streaming. And yet here I am streaming on WDTN Plus. So for people who said, I'm going to download this app, see what they have to offer, and you're all across the world watching, I want to welcome you to Dayton, Ohio, the center of the sports universe. Now, why is the the news anchor doing a sports show? Well, people who've been around this market and have tuned into Channel 2 know that I did sports here at WDTN for over 30 years. I go way back to the days of Omar Williams. I cut my teeth with Omar Williams leading the way, and I think that has been one of the best experiences that I've had here at Channel 2. I've done a lot since coming on here. Actually came in here part-time, just kind of did some fill-in work, eventually worked my way on to Operation Football. Then I became the weekend guy and eventually the sports director in January of 2002, and I did that up until earlier this year in 2025 when Joey DiBaradino took over the sports department. He's doing a great job, and now I'm on the news desk. But like most sports people, I just can't give it up. So welcome to the Pohl Position. A little bit more about the background and maybe some just so you kind of know what I know about the sports and what I have seen. I was a play-by-play man here on Channel 2 and Dayton CW for Wright State Raider basketball. I've covered multiple Ohio State national championships. By the way, my record is 2-1 covering Ohio State and national title games. Unfortunately, I'm 0-1 covering the Bengals in the Super Bowl and the Major League Baseball All-Star games, blah, 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 blah. If there was a big event over the last 30 years, most likely I was there. So this also brings me a little bit back to my roots. Many, many years ago in the mid to late 1980s, I actually hosted a show called the Gem City Sports Wrap on WING Radio. I will never forget that. We did it from Damon's Sports and, what was it? Damon's Ribs and Sports or something like that. It was Damon's Ribs, and they tried to make it into, really, they were ahead of their time as one of the first sports bars in Dayton, Ohio. Ironically, it's now BW3's over there in Town and Country Shopping Center, and it's very similar to what it was Damon's back in the late 80s. You know, they had big screen TVs and all that, and they put me in one of their booths and did a sports talk show a couple of nights a week, and that was a lot of fun. So I've come full circle. Here I am many, many years later doing the Pohl Position. Now, this isn't your traditional sports talk show. What this is going to be is I want your interaction, and I want to talk about what you want to talk about, but it's going to be a fun, opinionated show. I'm not trying to get anyone fired here. I'm not going to be yelling and screaming and carrying on, although most people think I sound like I'm yelling when I'm talking. There may be a little bit of truth to that, but it wants to be a fun take on sports. I think what gets lost so often now is that sports is fun. I mean, you know, there's a joke I always say, you know, there's a reason we're the last 3 minutes of the newscast or the last 4 minutes of a newscast. Yes, what we cover is important, and the time that people put into sports is so vital, and it means so much to them, and they sacrifice so much to be as great as they can at sports. But underneath it all, it really all comes down to life lessons, having fun, and building character. Because winning or losing, I mean, like it or not, I mean, you're going to wake up the next day. So there are bigger issues out there, and I'm learning that firsthand as I switched from sports to news about 10 months ago. So I certainly get it. But again, this isn't going to be a call-in sports talk show because that's just simply not going to work. So what we're going to ask you to do is send us emails. You can give us your opinions or what you want to talk about, or eventually I'll get to a subject here, so bear with me. But I just kind of want to get this first show, let you know what's going on. Just send me an email to pohlposition@wdtn.com. Right now, you can send me one at pohlposition, all one word, P-O-H-L position @wdtn.com. I'll read some viewer mail on the future shows, and if you have a topic you want us to cover, then we will certainly do that. So that's everything. Now, why I love sports really is it's different because sports is the original reality show, right? It's the original reality TV from when it first started broadcasting. And it's not that every game is great, but it is that every game has the potential to be great. I mean, I'm the type of guy who's flipping around the channels, and if I see a UFL game between, like, the Michigan Panthers and somebody, and it's a close game in the fourth quarter, I'm not turning it off. I want to see what happens. I feel the drama, and that's just how I feel about it. So I just love the drama of sports, how much it means to people. I mean, personally, at my age now, I pretty much the only sport I play all the time is golf, and it's just the day-to-day challenge and the good days and the bad days and the rebounds and the what happened there days. It's just sports office at all. It's a big gambit. So what is our first topic going to be on this show? Well, I'll tell you what. It is going to be, my opinion only, and I'll give you the criteria, of the top 10 sports teams in the Miami Valley, or the Dayton area, if you will. And I base that on a lot of different things. I think it's through my years of fan support, and not just fan support, but fan engagement. It goes on to what fans do on social media, how they stop me in the store to talk about it, being at the arena or the stadium or the park or wherever they are, and I see the fans and how they react and how much their team means to them. What T-shirts and coats and jackets and different things I see on cars throughout the Dayton area. These are all things that are very subjective, but in my 30 years, I thought I'd come to what are the top 10 most passionate fan bases in the Dayton area. And it's kind of a wide range of how I did this, but mostly it comes down to passion, engagement, and loyalty. And I think without question, the number one team on that list is got to be the University of Dayton Flyers. I mean, there is no question about UD and their growth throughout the years. I mean, you take a look at this video there and just everything that takes place at a UD game and the Flyer faithful and how they have meant so much to that university and the great players that have come through here and the great victories that this team has had. I mean, there is no one, in my opinion, even close to Dayton. Men's basketball, let's be specific here. Dayton men's basketball is the number one team in Dayton, Ohio. I mean, they have Dayton across their jersey, so that helps. You know, we're not talking about maybe the Bengals or Ohio State. This is Dayton, UD, and they have the fan base with the passion to back it up. They've also had some great players that transcend. They get people into the NBA. Most recently, Obi Toppin. You got the Pacers in the NBA Finals. And everything I see on social media is about the former Flyer, Obi Toppin, and how much that means to everyone. And I just think that's such a big deal. Now, Dayton is, you know, it's a different world now. They don't go to the NCAA tournament that much, or they don't go that deep into it. And goodness knows what's going to happen once they get into this NIL and colleges actually playing the players starting this coming school year. It's going to be a different scene out there. But as for the UD Flyer faithful, the fans, the program, the players that come in, they are all bought in. And there's nothing on that level in Dayton, Ohio that all comes together. So without question, to me, the number one team on that list of most passionate fan bases in the Miami Valley has to be your University of Dayton Flyers men's basketball team. And I also think that transcends to different things like the basketball tournament when the Red Scare plays in the middle of every summer. They always get really good crowds there, and people always think it's fun to see former Flyers hit back on the court. That's always a really good time, and it's just an extension of that Flyer men's basketball team that means so much to people. And I will go further to say I think the first four is so successful because you have an educated fan base of basketball, men's college basketball, that can't get enough basketball, and any chance they can go to UD Arena, they are going to do so. So number one, without question, is the UD men's basketball team. Now, turning to our next team, and that would be a pretty obvious one. We switch sports from men's basketball, but we stay on the collegiate level and go to the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Buckeyes are number two on this list for very good reason. I mean, everywhere you go, you're going to find Buckeye fans in the state of Ohio, and Dayton is loaded with them. We have so many passionate Buckeye fans right here in the newsroom, so I don't even have to go to the store. But on a Saturday morning, on game day, if you go to a grocery store or a gas station, I can almost guarantee you're going to see somebody wearing an Ohio State jersey or a shirt or a cap or something to support their team, the Buckeyes. And it doesn't hurt that they just won another national title. So this is a team that always wins. Football is America's favorite sport. It's what they get into. And Ohio State in this area, I hear about more parties for Ohio State football where people getting together, and you see restaurants and bars do it, where people are outside and they gather, and there's huge crowds in scarlet and gray watching the Buckeyes. I also covered many, many games in my life while working at WDTN Channel 2, and Ohio State is loaded with fans from the Miami Valley. I'd be shooting a game on the sideline and someone would be yelling at me 6 rows up, "Hey, Jack, I'm from Vandalia," or "Hey, Jack, I'm from Troy," or from Huber Heights, or wherever it is. I've had a million people do that. So Ohio State, without question, would be the number 2 team on that list for the top 10 most passionate fan bases in the Miami Valley. So we've only made it through 2, and let's get to number 3 because things stay in football, but they move over to the National Football League. And I know there's a ton of Browns fans out there and even some Steeler fans and that sort of thing. So I totally get that. But the Cincinnati Bengals are number 3 on this list, and especially since the arrival of one Joe Burrow, who has really brought some excitement to this team. The Bengals have been to 3 Super Bowls. I think it's a love-hate relationship, and I think they're I won't say a distant third, but I think Ohio State is firmly number 2. UD is firmly number 1. But the Bengals, I think, are firmly number 3. Fans love to bash on them. They love to talk about how cheap they are. They love to hate them, and they hate to love them. But nevertheless, the Cincinnati Bengals are certainly a very passionate fan base. And again, like I was talking about with Ohio State, on a Sunday morning, you walk into a grocery store, you're going to see plenty of Bengal paraphernalia and people just out supporting the Cincinnati Bengals. And just like the Buckeyes games, when I go to Bengal games, lots of people yelling at me at the sidelines that, "Hey, I'm from the Dayton area, Jack, and we love our Bengals. Who dey?" Like that guy you just saw there. I think he's from Dayton. I'm not kidding you. I think that guy's from the Dayton area. So the Cincinnati Bengals would be number 3 on that list. Well, I hope you are enjoying the very first episode of the Pohl Position. When we come back, we have 7 more teams to talk about to fill out the top 10. And believe me, we won't spend quite as much time on them because, frankly, there is a huge drop-off. So we will be back with more of the Pohl Position coming up right after these short messages. Welcome back to the Pohl Position, episode 1, right here on WDTN+. Thanks for downloading the app. Tell a friend to do so, and check in on the show whenever you can. Again, we want to make this show as much about you as possible, and the only way that we can do that is to have you contact us, and you can do so by emailing the Pohl Position at, guess what? pollposition@WDTN.com. We are counting down the top 10 passionate fan bases in the Miami Valley, the Dayton area. We're trying to get to specific teams, but frankly, the top 3 kind of take most of that mojo away. I think we have number 1 without question, the UD men's basketball team. That is number 1. It'd be hard for anyone to argue with that. If you've ever been to a sellout at a UD arena for a Flyers regular season game, it is magical from before they tip off until that final clock hits 0. It is certainly a fun time, and there's just nothing like it in the Dayton area. They are number 1. Ohio State football, that is number 2 for obvious reasons. I mean, they get over 100,000 at their games every week. Thousands of them are from right here in the Miami Valley. They've had great success over the year, great tradition over the year. Lots of people graduated from Ohio State, live here in the Miami Valley. I think that's also a pretty no-brainer. Number 3, I bet you I'll get a few emails disagreeing with this, but I have the Cincinnati Bengals at number 3, and I just think that I think that's an easier team to pick. They are close to Cincinnati, and the Bengals have had great success. We'll get to you other football fans a little bit later, but number 4 on the list, and we'll have to move a little bit quicker on this as we get through the rest of our top 10. But I'm going to put the Cincinnati Reds baseball team. Now, I understand. You know, you watch a business day special on a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon, and it looks like 9 people are at Great American Ballpark. But I do think that it's a funny little team where if they start winning, then boom, the ticket sales go way up. And I don't mean like winning championships. I mean if they put together a 5 or 6 game winning streak, or all of a sudden they're 3 games out of first place or something like that. I think there's always a pretty quick reaction to that, and there's also a lot of support. I would say the Reds are among that sleeping type of fan in the Miami Valley, where when they're good, they speak up. But you go to any sports restaurant, and the Reds are always on. Every game is always on. Most sports fans in the Dayton area during the summertime are going to click on a Reds game and listen to them. They're going to want them to win. The Dayton Dragons are certainly helping with the Cincinnati Reds because we get to see so many of those players right here at Day Air Ballpark move up to the Reds in a few years, and we get to see them play. And I think that also adds to it. And the first person was Joey Votto, and then we move on down the line to everybody else. So I think that's a very good thing, and I'm putting the Cincinnati Reds as the fourth best passionate fan base in Dayton, Ohio, and it would probably always be at number 4, even if the Reds won the World Series. I don't know how much higher they could get than that. Boy, when I was a kid, though, I'll tell you one thing. The Reds were far and away number 1. There were no one even close, not even a close second. That's 75, 76, Big Red Machine. Even the 1990 championship team, boy, when the Reds are a winner, everyone's a fan because there's not as much bleed-in as there is in football. In football, you get the Steeler fans, you get the Brown fans, you get the Cowboy fans, you get all those marquee teams that are around the league that kind of spill into Dayton, and they seem like there's more of them than there really are, but they are there. Where here, one or two Guardian fans or, just like any sport, you get an outlier here or there. But mostly, even people that like the Bengals or the Browns tend to both like the Reds. I know a million people like that, maybe most people like that. So I definitely think that helps them out as well. So anyway, I find that very interesting. And the team right behind them is the team I had just mentioned not too long ago. And that, of course, is our Dayton Dragons. 25th season this year that they are celebrating in baseball. This is a team that never had won a championship, and this year they're having a horrible year, one of their worst ever. Of course, they'll clear the slate and get to go in the second half, so you never know. Stranger things happen. But the Dayton Dragons gave something for summertime sports that the UD men's basketball team gives during the winter, and that is a first-rate sports experience unlike any other. You go to Day Air Ballpark, you are at a top-notch place to go. You are enjoying yourself. I always say it's the best place you can spend 3 hours outside in downtown Dayton. Now, got a lot of great places in downtown Dayton, but for a sports fan, you go to that place, and they're constantly improving Day Air Ballpark. So when I say passion, I'll go passion/favorite, mainly because the Dayton Dragons, I don't think fans care if they're in first place. And many of you may go to their games or somewhat follow them on the radio and TV and be like, wow, I didn't realize they were having one of their worst seasons. So, but they have proven to be a team that understands that when a star comes in, whether it be Joey Votto years ago on rehab assignments or players coming in and out, Ellie De La Cruz on a rehab assignment, or Rhett Lauder, number 1 pick coming in here in Dayton, fans react and they absolutely love them. So at number 5, and the most passionate sports fan base is the Dayton Dragons, and I think for very good reason, because this is a team that has been around for 25 years. They have the sellout streak. It's a shame that COVID happened and kind of knocked things off a little bit, but they still pack them in every night. Man, I'll tell you what, just last Saturday night, this is a team that had lost, I think, 9 out of 10 games, and you could not see the grass in the grass seats. It was just nothing but humans, maybe a blade or two of grass in between every one of them. People love going to a Dayton Dragons game. Do they passionately follow that team like they would, like the Reds, who they want to win a championship? No, but they passionately love them for what they are and what they provide to Dayton, and that is a great sports experience with a top-level entertainment, and we're really, really blessed to have the Dayton Dragons. That has certainly worked out. All right, now at number 6, this is not a team, but frankly, as far as teams go, it gets a little different. But I got to say high school football. And the reason I can't say one singular team is because, no, Wayne or Centerville or Springfield, none of those teams on their own certainly captivate all of the Miami Valley. Yet, all of the Miami Valley is captivated by high school sports, and I've learned that firsthand through my many, many years of Operation Football, and what Joey D and Kaylor Smith do now is going to be fantastic this fall. And you go to a game, and I've been to so many games, countless games throughout my life, and communities come together. In fact, I'll never forget after 9/11, years ago, they played those football games on Friday night, and the country was in such a weird place, and for me, that was the first step to healing. Seeing that team run out in the field, hearing that crowd roar, it just felt like, okay, this is Americana. This is what makes us feel good. This is what's important, community and being together. And nothing brings that together better than high school football. Number 7, and I struggled with this one, but and maybe it's just maybe I know too many of them personally, and that has kind of skewed me. But I'm going to put the Cleveland Browns at number 7. I mean, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but for a lot of people, and in my family in particular, I'm the youngest of 8. So the 4 oldest people in the family are all Browns fans because by then, by the time the Bengals came along, they were entrenched in the Browns, and the Browns were winning NFL championships, and they had Jim Brown and all those other things that were happening. Then when the Bengals came along, the lower half of my family, the final 4 kids of the youngest, all decided to love the Bengals, and so we're split. And I think the Miami Valley's that way. I think older people that grew up maybe a little more on the Browns than the Bengals just stayed with the Browns, so I'm putting them at number 7. At number 8, we're going to go with the Wright State Raider men's basketball team. Wright State is, you hate not to be able to put them on the same level as UD, but they're just simply not. The fans that they do have are passionate. I know the people that run that program are extremely passionate, and the people that work at that school do a great job. When Wright State played for championships at the Nutter Center, they sold it out. When they took on Butler or whoever it is they were playing, they'll sell it out. When things get on the line, they can put a big crowd in there. The problem is all the games before that, and there's a lot of things that have to do with it. The Nutter Center is a little bit more cavernous than UD Arena. It doesn't have that magical, intimate vibe that UD Arena has, and I think that takes away from it. Also, the league that they play in, there's just not as many big games that they get to play. And when they do play a big game, it's normally on the road. So Wright State is a very big university, a Division I program in this town, but I'm putting them at number 8. And then 9 and 10 are just kind of, I'll be honest, it's basically the top 5 after Dragons football, and then maybe the top 6 high school football. I'm going to say soccer fans / FC Cincinnati, and you could, they all seem to be very, very boisterous and love it and passionate about it. I've been to some FC Cincinnati games. I don't know how many are from the Dayton area, so I don't know. That's debatable. And then number 10, I'm going to have to go with racing fans, but I'll also put in there hockey and different things like that. But I'll say overall racing fans at number 10 because NASCAR is huge in Dayton. Boy, Killcare Speedway just a few weeks ago did a race, and they had cars lined up for miles trying to get in there. That track is still alive and thriving, and people love it. So we do Xfinity races on Dayton CW. I ran into a guy at a convenience store just the other day, tells me he never misses one of those races and can't get enough racing. Now, they're not quite as vocal. I don't think that sports lends itself, but it certainly does well. So real quick, running out of time here. Top 10, once again, number 1, UD men's basketball. Number 2, Ohio State football. Number 3, Cincinnati Bengals. 4, the Cincinnati Reds. 5, the Dayton Dragons. 6, high school football. 7, Cleveland Browns. 8, Wright State men's basketball. Number 9, we have Soccer FC Cincinnati. And number 10, we have racing fans. All right, that is the first edition of the Pohl Position. We want to hear your thoughts on the sports world and on today's program. Send me your top 10 list and tell me why, and we will feature that here on the air when we do viewer mail once we get some. This is episode 1, so that may take a minute or 2, but nevertheless, we certainly appreciate you coming in and tuning into today's show. This is the Pohl Position. Once again, that email address is pollposition@wdtn.com. We thank you so much for tuning in. And WDTN Plus, we are off and running with the very first Pohl Position. Have yourself a wonderful day and tell a friend to download the app.